The wealthiest people aren't those who made the most money, but those who avoided the biggest mistakes. There comes a moment in every person's life when the future once imagined collides with the reality created. For many, this revelation arrives around age 50, a moment of truth when time becomes more precious than money, when possibilities narrow, and when certain doors begin to close forever. The problem isn't just financial, it's existential. It's that sinking feeling of looking back and seeing a path littered with decisions that seemed small in the moment, but compound into life-altering consequences. Studies show that nearly 70% of people over 50 would make dramatically different financial choices if given another chance. Not because they lacked information, but because they failed to connect their daily decisions with their future freedom. Today, we explore the financial decisions that cause the most regret after reaching the half-century mark. Not to dwell in remorse, but to illuminate the path forward, whether one is 25, 40, or even 55. Because understanding these regrets isn't about looking backward. It's about recalibrating one's compass for the journey ahead. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." This profound observation captures the essence of financial regret. Because money, at its core, is not just currency, it's crystallized time. Every dollar represents a piece of life exchanged for it. And when people mismanage money, they're not just mismanaging resources, they're mismanaging their very existence. As Aristotle taught us about eudaimonia, true flourishing isn't found in wealth itself, but in living virtuously and using resources wisely to support a life of meaning and excellence. The true millionaire mindset isn't about accumulating wealth. It's about understanding the profound relationship between time, energy, and freedom. Perhaps this is what Thoreau meant when he wrote about the cost of a thing, saying it's the amount of what I will call life which is required to be exchanged for it, immediately or in the long run. The healthy person wants 1,000 things. The sick person wants only one. The number one regret people express after 50 isn't about missed stock opportunities or failed businesses. It's sacrificing health for wealth, only to spend that wealth trying to regain health. The ancient Romans had a phrase for this wisdom: mens sana in corpore sano, a sound mind in a sound body. They understood that all achievement becomes hollow without the vitality to enjoy it. Here's the brutal truth. The financial decision to overwork, to skip exercise, to eat poorly, to ignore stress, these aren't just health choices. They're financial time bombs. Consider this. The average cost of managing a chronic condition in retirement exceeds $300,000 per couple. That's not counting the intangible cost of limited mobility, energy, and independence. The investment insight here is simple yet radical. Every hour invested in health today pays exponential returns in both quality of life and actual dollars saved later. The most financially sound decision one can make in their 30s and 40s isn't working extra hours. It's investing those hours in physical well-being. As Hippocrates wisely noted long ago, health is the greatest wealth. The greatest tax in life isn't paid to the government, it's paid to others' expectations. The second most common regret after 50 is investing in an identity rather than in actual growth. Many people reach midlife having spent decades purchasing the symbols of success rather than building its foundation. They bought the luxury car before the investment portfolio, the prestigious address before the passive income, the country club membership before the emergency fund. This isn't just about materialistic choices, it's deeper. It's about investing in the appearance of success rather than its substance. It's choosing careers based on status rather than fulfillment, relationships based on convenience rather than growth, and lifestyles based on external validation rather than personal values. The philosopher Kierkegaard called this living in the aesthetic sphere. where one's choices are dictated by pleasure, appearance, and social approval rather than by authentic selfhood. The problem isn't the desire for beautiful things, it's the substitution of those things for substantive achievement and genuine expression. The practical insight: before any major purchase or life decision, one should ask, am I investing in who I truly am or who I think others expect me to be? The authentic self is the only appreciating asset one truly owns. The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. By 50, many people realize with startling clarity they've traded flexibility for stability, only to discover that stability was an illusion. They took the secure job instead of the entrepreneurial risk. They placed all their eggs in the corporate basket rather than developing multiple skills and income streams. They committed to lifestyles that required specific income levels, creating golden handcuffs they couldn't escape. The Taoist concept of wu-wei, non-forcing or effortless action, offers wisdom here. It suggests that true security comes not from rigid control, but from flexibility and adaptability, like a reed that bends in the storm while the mighty oak breaks. The paradox is that what feels safe often carries the greatest long-term risk. The seemingly stable corporate job can disappear overnight. The industry one has dedicated decades to can become obsolete. The skill set perfected can be automated. The investment insight is counterintuitive. True financial security comes not from commitment to a single path, but from maintaining optionality. It's about cultivating multiple skills, building diverse income streams, and living beneath one's means to retain the freedom to pivot. The most valuable asset one can develop isn't their 401k, it's their adaptability. The quality of life is determined by the quality of one's relationships. Perhaps the most painful financial regret after 50 isn't about money at all. It's realizing that in the pursuit of financial success, many have underinvested in the relationships that give life meaning. Successful people often reach midlife with impressive balance sheets, but impoverished social connections. They've prioritized networking over friendship, transactions over genuine bonds, and professional advancement over family memories. The philosopher Martin Buber distinguished between I-it relationships, where others are treated as means to an end, and I-thou relationships, where others are valued as ends in themselves. The tragedy of financial success without relational depth is a life full of I-it connections, but starved of I-thou encounters. This isn't just an emotional cost, it's a financial one. Research shows that social isolation in later life increases healthcare costs by an average of 29%. More importantly, the absence of meaningful relationships diminishes the very purpose of financial freedom. The investment principle here is profound. The dividends from genuine relationships, support in crisis, joy in celebration, purpose in contribution, far outperform any market return. And unlike market investments, relationship investments become more valuable precisely when other assets are crashing. As Epicurus observed, of all the things that wisdom provides to help one live one's entire life in happiness, the greatest by far is the possession of friendship. We buy things we don't need, with money we don't have, to impress people we don't like. The final and perhaps most existential financial regret is discovering that financial success without meaning is an empty achievement. Many reach 50 having conquered external metrics of success, the career, the house, the retirement account, only to confront an internal emptiness. They've postponed passion, curiosity, and purpose in favor of practical considerations, assuming they would find meaning someday. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived the Nazi concentration camps, discovered that what distinguishes humans most fundamentally is the will to meaning. In his seminal work, Man's Search for Meaning, he observed that those who survived the camps weren't necessarily the strongest physically, but those who had a purpose worth living for. The tragic financial miscalculation is believing that meaning is a luxury to be purchased later, rather than a necessity to be cultivated daily. This leads to expensive compensatory behaviors, lavish purchases, risky investments, hasty career changes, all attempting to fill a void that money cannot address. As Nietzsche famously said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." The investment wisdom here is transformative. Meaning isn't found, it's created. And it's created through contribution, through craftsmanship, through connection to something larger than oneself. The financially savvy move is to invest in meaning concurrent with money, not as its successor. When these regrets are examined closely, a pattern emerges. The decisions people most regret aren't technical financial choices, they're life choices with financial consequences. The truth is that financial regret at 50 isn't really about the money not made. It's about the life not created. But here's where transformation becomes possible. Understanding these regrets doesn't just help avoid them. It fundamentally changes how wealth itself is defined. True wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in health that allows one to experience life fully. It's measured in the authenticity that aligns the outer world with inner truth. It's measured in the flexibility to adapt to life's inevitable changes. It's measured in relationships that bring meaning to success. And it's measured in purpose that makes the journey worthwhile. The millionaire mind doesn't just know how to make money, it knows why money matters. And paradoxically, once one understands why money matters, they realize that what makes life rich often costs very little. As Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote in his Meditations, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." The choice, available at any age, is to build a life so aligned with one's authentic self that financial regret becomes impossible. Not because perfect decisions will be made, but because every decision will be in service to who one truly is. Which of these potential regrets resonated most deeply with you? Was it the health-wealth connection, the identity investment trap, the freedom-flexibility paradox, the relationship ROI, or the meaning deficit? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear to avoid their own future regret. If you found value in this reflection, feed your millionaire mind by subscribing and hitting the like button. Not because success is measured in subscribers, but because our community grows stronger with each mind that joins it. Until next time, remember, the true wealth isn't what you have, it's who you are.